Topping today's news, the Minister of Energy rejects a proposed electricity rate increase on Grand Bahama. The Bahamas Constitution Party continues its Supreme Court injunction to keep Bahamas Power and Light fully Bahamian-owned, and a man dies following a double shooting outside of a nightclub on Grand Bahama early this morning. Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Jarino Saunders. This is your JCN Evening News, and it is a pleasure to have you join us. There has been much backlash, especially by Grand Bahama residents, after the Grand Bahama Power Company revealed plans to increase the base electricity rate by 6.3% come January 2025. For the first time in a while, the government and the official opposition agreeing, as they both disapprove of this move, with senior members from both sides speaking out strongly against the proposal. In a press statement this afternoon, the Minister of Energy and Transport informed that it has written to the Utilities Regulations and Competition Authority, ERCA, expressing unequivocally objection to the idea taken by the Grand Bahama Port Authority, which claimed sole regulatory authority over the electricity tariffs following the sale of the Grand Bahama Power Company to a private entity. The letter issued by Jobeth Kobe Davis, the minister responsible for energy, details the significant regulatory irregularity the Port Authority's actions have introduced. The letter said the Grand Bahama Port Authority's stance is in direct contravention of the Electricity Acts 2015 and 2024, which clearly designate ERCA as the regulatory body responsible for overseeing the energy sector throughout the islands of the Bahamas. It said this unilateral decision by the Port Authority to approve a rate increase application from the Grand Bahama Power Company without the oversight or consent of ERCA is troubling. The ministry said the proposed rate increase not only breaches our established legal framework, but also threatens the government's ongoing efforts to reduce energy costs for all Bahamians. The government is calling on ERCA to enforce stringent compliance with the Electricity Act and to halt any rate increases that have not undergone proper regulatory review. Meanwhile, last week, the Bahamas Constitution Party, the BCP, officially filed for injunction action asking the Supreme Court to cause the government to cease and desist from all transfers of Bahamas Power and Light shares to any private company, and also to stop any process that changes the current structure and operations of Bahamas Power and Light. Mrs. S. Ali McIntosh, servant leader for the BCP, says they have been given a case number by the Supreme Court, and they are trying to fast-track the matter with the filing for a certificate of urgency. We asked Mrs. McIntosh, other than the 60 to 40% partnership with BPL owning 40% of the shares, if there's anything else about the BPL deal that the BCP can support.
The BCP believes in the modernization of this grid. It is important. All of us want better power. We want better generation and distribution of electricity throughout the country. We believe in renewable energy and solar technology. For the past 25 years, I've believed in that. I've worked with solar technology. We also believe in joint venture companies. We believe that companies can come in and partner with us with expertise and technology to help us improve the grid. My problem is that we don't believe we have to give away the company for that to happen. So it means we must stop and review and decide, let's look at all that has been proposed over the years. Because smart grid technology, solar technology, these independent power providers has all been presenting these to BEC and BPL to get it done. But it appears that the money, special interest in this country, is yet again trying to produce a deal where they benefit more than the beneficial owners of the corporation BEC.
While many Bahamians are not happy with the idea of a small circle of people benefiting tremendously from the Bahamas Power and Light deal with Pike Corporation, they do want to see an improved Bahamas Power and Light. We asked Mrs. McIntosh, should the injunction be successful and the BCP becomes the government of the Bahamas, what would they do to fix Bahamas Power and Light, considering its current situation with aging equipment and an outstanding $500 million debt?
There is a lot that is going to be recommended. We allowed Kareem Hanschel, who was formerly a consultant in the Ministry of Finance regarding some things. He also presented certain things to BEC over the term as to what we can do in smart technology in handling the transmission, not just the transmission, but the production of electricity from homes back to the grid. All of this, when we allow ourselves to be part of the producers of electricity, we will be able to handle that legacy debt. We don't have to be in debt. We have to own the company and continue to do what we have to do to keep that company as the ownership of Bahamians and Bahamian companies so that we can do what we have to do and all of this money does not go back out of the country.
Although the wheels are already in motion with the BPL deal, Mrs. McIntosh says it is never too late to save the company for Bahamians. She says they have gotten good public support as many Bahamians do not want to lose another public corporation. Meanwhile, scores of Bahamians scramble to invest in the public bond offering to raise $100 million for the BPL project. The offering was oversubscribed. Another capital raise is expected in the coming months. One of two men who were shot outside of a nightclub in Grand Bahama this morning has died. Police reports indicate that the incident happened around 1 a.m. outside a nightclub on East Sunrise Highway. Both men were shot several times to the upper body. They were rushed to hospital, but one of them later died. Police are investigating to find out the circumstances surrounding this incident. This is the 77th murder already for the country. And finally, in this segment, on Tuesday, the official opposition FNM hit the government on its economic performance to date since they have come to power. And today, the governing PLP responding. In a scathing statement, the PLP highlighting many of the FNM's missteps while they were in office, like a 60% VAT increase, the OBAN fiasco, a chronic failure to meet their own fiscal targets, no new investments, no new homes built, and no union agreements. Free National Movement leader Michael Pintard and Chairman Dr. Dwayne Sands both targeted a statement made by PLP Chairman and Minister of Foreign Affairs, that's Fred Mitchell. He made that statement last Friday when he said the economy is in a tight squeeze. Well, today, Mr. Mitchell responded with this.
There was a statement, a stupid statement by Dr. Dwayne Sands and Michael Pintard of the FNM, issued yesterday preaching doom and gloom and praying for crop failure. The riff on which they were expanding was a statement by me, they claim so, from a couple of days before. You really have to count to 10 and remember that in politics, you often have to suffer fools gladly. None of these leaders of the FNM have the ethical standing to comment on any public policy issue in this country, not after their history of abject failures. Yet, these two shameless individuals have the temerity to prevaricate and twist public falsehoods about my statement, which was that the government of the Bahamas is carefully controlling expenditure, seeks not to go to the market to borrow, like the prudent housewife is putting aside money for a rainy day. That suddenly became my saying that the country has a cash flow problem or cash crunch. No such thing was said.
The PLP statement says while they cannot take the FNM seriously, the Davis administration does take the challenges of the economy very seriously, noting that they have stabilized the fiscal crisis inherited from the Free National Movement, even while lowering VAT from 12% to 10%, which is why they have worked to promote the country to create new investments and new opportunities, supported by comprehensive energy reforms to help reduce the cost of electricity, which is crucial to building a 21st century economy and upgrading our infrastructure, including on the Family Islands. You're listening to JCN News. We'll take a break here. We'll be right back.